I'm Mike Sachs, and this is Law and Crime.
And welcome back to Law and Crime. One more segment for you here as we continue our live analysis on the network. As you know, we've been following this double murder trial against rapper YNW Melly. It's in Broward County, Florida. The 24-year-old, there he is. This guy's 5'2", 130 pounds. He is a small person. He's 24 years old. He's looking at the death penalty, possibly, if convicted in the shooting deaths of his two friends, Anthony Williams, Christopher Thomas Jr. Yesterday in court, there were some arguments, and a lot of them have been in this case, outside the presence of the jury, where the prosecution wanted to admit some text messages between the defendant and his mother. So, you know, in a normal, mother-son conversation, he's asking her about the things you talk about, like, I want to buy a Glock. So let's listen to those arguments.
Jamie King is sending a text message to her son, send me your location. I'm in Stewart. I love you so much. He then sends a return the location showing at or about the time of the crime as to who was using and doing that. Okay, love you, again from Jamie King. I'm at your gate. I'm going to get the trash. The next response is bring Mariah, which you honors already heard testimony that Felicia Holmes, her daughter, Mariah Hamilton, was in a dating relationship with this defendant, and that at this time, and that there was conversations, and that she has identified Mariah as Mariah Hamilton. Then there is okay. It continues. He then asks his mother to buy him a Glock ASAP, and telling her, like, go now. So she then responds, okay, what's wrong? She says, I got your 45. Then his response, I just don't want no illegal gun. Well, that's not illegal.
Okay, so hey, son, I've got your 45. No, I need a legal gun. So work on getting the Glock for me, Mom. Come on. Bizarre. So Judge Murphy ultimately ruled that those text messages would be permitted during the trial as evidence. So let's get some thoughts on that. First of all, let me have you switch hats here, Katherine. I know you're a criminal defense attorney or quite often handle defense. I'm going to make you a prosecutor now. What are you going to do with that material? Use it to your best advantage.
Well, if I was the prosecutor, I would use it to show that the criminal history and criminality for Jamell Demons, of course, that would be prejudicial. So there has to be a balance as to how you present that so that it doesn't show that just because you're a gun owner and your mother buys guns for you, that you automatically are a criminal and a gun shooter. So the prosecutor would have to toe that line. But what I find interesting here is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like that conversation happened at the time of the shooting or after the shooting, because I heard the prosecutor actually say that Jamell Demons showed where his location was at the time of that chat. So that could also be used to show where he was at the time of the crime.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and that was not really the thrust of the argument, but you're right. It's definitely a little corollary. So, Joe, for the defense, how do you just dismiss this? How do you kind of poo-poo it?
I'm certainly going to argue it's more prejudicial than probative, particularly in a world where they actually don't have the gun. The gun is unrecovered. I don't know if I may have missed the testimony about what the shells and the things that they found demonstrate as it pertains to the type of gun. Of course, if it was a different type of gun, I would argue that as well. But I would argue that it's more prejudicial than probative. It doesn't come in because of what it is that they're trying to demonstrate and what it is that they're actually missing. The best evidence of what gun was used would have been the gun itself, and they don't have it.
Yeah, that is kind of a problem. And so, you know, we've had a lot of cases in which very important pieces of evidence have been missing: guns, bodies. So, Katherine, how do you get past that? Because I'm not sure the prosecution has yet, and we've only got about 30 seconds.
Well, you bring up as much circumstantial evidence to show that he was the shooter, and for now we haven't seen that much, but the state is not yet done presenting their evidence.
Wow, that was only about 12 seconds. That was pretty good. Well, thank you guys. Always a pleasure. I'm going to thank and excuse Katherine Lizardo and Joe Richardson. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on, and we will do it again soon, I predict. Have a great weekend.